Alright, so this is going to be another movie review. This one's called Nymphomaniac Volume 2. I watched it backwards. I watched Part 2 and first before Part 1. And ironically, Part 2 gets higher ratings than Part 1. I could sort of get the gist of the story from reading it on Wikipedia and watching it. Joe gets brutalized, I guess, and left in the alley. Some loner, asexual guy, he calls himself, picks her up off the street, and they have this chat about her sordid life. She's always whining about society doesn't accept her nymphomania. I guess there's a clinical term for that, but to me it's all a bunch of hokum. I mean, to call it a clinical disease or whatever is to deny any responsibility for what she was doing. Okay, and it wasn't just sexual perversion, but it was also the lust for killing at the end. I don't want to spoil the ending, but let's just say she's got to screw loose. She's definitely not all there in terms of her morality. And I might add that the director of this movie got busted at Cannes for claiming that he was a Nazi and that he understood Hitler. I don't know what kind of joke that was supposed to be. I guess it was supposed to be like a really bad taste John Water movie from the 70s. I don't know. I guess he was trying to reenact a John Water movie from the 70s. But in any case, I know one of my fans really enjoyed this movie. I don't know if it was Audra Hando or her sidekick, some other gal. One of my fans saw this movie when it came out on the big screen. My apologies for not remembering that far back. I guess that was when I was going through a divorce. Initially, a separation. Oh, the fun days of getting kicked out of your ex-wife's house. My son jokes that I got kicked out. How come he can't get kicked out? Anyways, enough about my life. Getting back to the movie, or my fans, I should say. My fans and then my life, and then getting back to the movie. So she's describing her sexual acts of perversion, including dookie in the booty. It happens double penetration with these two black guys. She calls them Negroes, which is kind of an outdated racist term. It's kind of racist. I guess it's halfway between black and the other word. Now everybody says African American, which doesn't make sense because these people in the United States, they didn't grow up in Africa. They're probably third generation slaves, most likely. and America is kind of doesn't make sense. We're in North America, not some fictional continent. So I never really understood that term, but people use it all the time, so fine. I'll call them African Americans. How's that? They sandwich her, but then they get all pissed off because their dinglings are rubbing up, causing too much friction or something. There are a lot of dinglings in this movie, by the way. Mostly big ones, but the last one is uncut. About the only sexual perversions that they don't have are fisting, peeing, pooing, and or hairy armpits, or sex. I guess there is a sex orgy, now that I come to think of it, with those two African American guys in the cheap motel. So it starts out with a totally different actress. I mean, she doesn't look at all like the gal who's telling the story. She doesn't have flat chest, kind of skin and bones body, and moles all over the place. Or maybe she's got the moles and the other one doesn't. I can't remember. But the moles on each girl aren't in the same place, so it's obviously different actresses. She doesn't look attractive to me, but she has the kind of mindset that's attractive. I would have enjoyed this movie if it would have been like 16 Tongues with two lesbian foo Asian babes, preferably with hairy armpits. But I guess it's a Brit movie, so they put some ugly British babes with rather long pink nipples. I've never been attracted to that kind of thing, but anyways, this movie's got lesbian foo and sex orgy, I mentioned. The getting raped in the doo-doo walls, or dookie in the booty, is probably more. It's probably a less confusing term. It's got S&M. This guy's just punching her and whipping her arse until it's bloody with these knotted up, nasty looking whip thing. That it was like a gift to her. He calls her Fido. So this goes on and on. She's like a total slut whore type of individual. The interesting part occurs when she completely abandons her baby, or the toddler, and just to get a little S&M type of action. It makes her wet, apparently. I didn't even know that type of thing was possible. But with her, anything is possible, right? So it kind of reminded me of Murray Rothbard, Walter Block School of Parenting, where the child is kind of like a parasite to the parent. So you could just let them starve, or just completely abandon them, and it would be perfectly all right, according to the non-aggression principle, which is complete nonsense and kookiness. It makes libertarians look kooky. Okay? So this gal is kooky, like a kooky libertarian type of Murray Rothbard style of parenting, I guess. The kid's like about ready to jump off the balcony when her soulmate, or or the father comes home, discovers the son. Of course, he's aghast. He takes the son away, but ironically, he's not capable of taking care of the son either. The son ends up in a foster home. So that was kind of ironic. So pretty cool flick. I enjoyed the story, not so much, or not at all, because I was attracted to any of the naked people in this movie. And there is full frontal in this. I mean, a total nudity. They don't pull any punches in this one. It's like hardcore porn, okay? I mean, it's like, I haven't seen a movie like this since Caligula, which is why I'm giving it 5 out of 5 stars. You know, it's one of those so bad that it's good type movies, and it tries to be an art house movie with jump cuts and stuff, but they use it for like 2 hours. God only knows how many times they use it in the first part. So it becomes repetitive, like watching a Godard flick or something. A really long Godard flick with hardcore porn. But in a good way. I mean, the story is about one thing, this gal and her perversions and her amoral behavior. So pretty cool stuff. I mean, the whole idea that she was like completely obsessed and she wasn't responsible for her own behavior was totally ridiculous. I mean, I felt like she was totally incompetent. Everything she did was like a bomb that was blowing up in her face or something. It was like she had Murphy's Law to the hilt, man. Everything kept blowing up in her face. And she becomes a debt collector after she's like screwing around with her office mates, and they force her to attend some kind of ridiculous counseling sessions with other so-called nymphomaniacs or sex addicts, as they say. Then she goes full-out ballistic and she starts like throwing a Molotov cocktail on somebody's car while burning down the house by was it Simple Minds? I can't even remember the name of that new wave band, David Byrne. Anyway, it just starts blaring out of nowhere. Then the ending movie credits are "Hey Joe," some kind of remake with some gal singing the Jimi Hendrix song. That was pretty cool. I remember listening to that Jimi Hendrix song when I was a teenager, you know, going through adolescence. My dad had all the Jimi Hendrix records, including the one with all the naked women on it. So that was pretty cool. I mean, I'm not a big fan of rock music from the 60s and the 80s, but it's better than some of the crap they put on the movies. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. This movie just... I couldn't quite figure out what was going on in the beginning because I didn't see the first part, obviously. So I just looked it up on Wikipedia and it kind of piqued my interest. It makes you feel dirty, like watching a Radley Metzger flick, but a really good Radley Metzger flick, if such a thing exists. like Teresa and Isabel. That kind of I don't know. I wish there was more lesbian foo in this one, and I wish the main actresses were lesbians. But oh well. I wish some of the I mean, what I mean to say is, I wish they were lesbians instead of bisexuals. That's what I meant to say. Because there's a lot of dingling action in this one. So, if you like big, long dingling, this movie's for you. Kind of reminded me of Caligula in that respect. Radley Metzger is another one. But it's kind of cool how this movie was organized, kind of with the end at the beginning and broken up into two parts. Looking forward to seeing the first part. I haven't seen the infamous Uma Thurman shouting. And it's pretty cool that they added a bunch of cult movie actors like Christian Slater, who was in Alone in the Dark, a Yui Bowl flick, great flick. Uma Thurman, who was in Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2. Now she's in Nymphomaniac Volume 1 and 2. So that was pretty cool. And then there's that German guy who was in Suspiria. His name is Udo Kier. I can never pronounce his name. He also did those Andy Warhol monster movies. There's William Dafoe. That was a familiar face. So there's a lot of U.S. actors mixed with Brit actors. This makes me wonder where this story takes place. I guess it's in Great Britain, but why did they use U.S. actors? I couldn't figure that out. That part was a little unclear. So it gets a 6.7 rating on IMDb, which is relatively high, especially considering all the negative reviews that it got. I guess it got more positive reviews than negative reviews, which is why it has such a high rating on IMDb. Despite the director being a self-admitted Nazi, apparently, his idea of making a funny joke. So there's that. I don't know. I just love this flick. I couldn't get enough of it. I'm looking forward to watching the second part. Highly recommended. Check it out later. Oh, wait a minute. If you've already seen it, I'm probably just rehashing it for you 3 years later. Bye.